Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm bringing to you something that's a little bit different and exciting and I couldn't wait. Bad Habit Beauty, I don't know if you guys have heard of it before, is a super affordable brand that they sell only on Hush in the US. And they come out with dupes for a lot of higher end palettes. They just came out with the Supernova and Solstice palette, which are very similar to the Natasha Denona Sunset and Lila palette. So today, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be comparing the Lila palette versus the Supernova palette. I'm not going to get into ingredients. They're obviously going to be different. I'm sure that the Natasha palette is much higher quality. I will tell you that her packaging is higher quality. I will say that overall, from just using them in this video, these shadows are much softer and creamier, but they are also more powdery at the same time. It is the strangest thing, but they feel softer. They swatch beautifully. They are creamy, but when you put them on, they have more fallout. I don't really want to say that's a good thing or a bad thing. The Natasha palette, the shadows are a lot more pigmented. They're true to color. They are harder pressed, and there is not as much fallout, but these blended nicer for me. So I don't really know. You guys are gonna have to wait and see which one I ultimately decided was better. I do love Natasha Denona shadows, but I have been very impressed with Bad Habit. So if you want to see how I created this look, just keep on watching and let's get to the video. So I already have my brows done. Just used one of the NYX Pro Brow pencils. Prime my lids with Shape Tape. I have my foundation already done, and I went ahead and set my eyes with the Laura Mercier Universal Translucent Powder. I'm going to go ahead and compare. So this is the Natasha Denona Lila Palette. It is $129, and this is the Bad Habit Beauty Supernova palette that just came out. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the palettes, and I did some swatches, so I will insert those. But I wanted to show you guys the side-by-side comparison. Now in the pans, some of the shades look a little bit different, like the bright pink shades that are actually both in the center. The Natasha Denona palette looks much pinkier, if you can see that. Whereas in the Supernova palette, it does not look quite as pinky. And I went ahead and did the swatch video beforehand. Okay, so here are the swatches. I forgot to record an intro for this, but I went ahead and took pictures and then labeled them. I put the Lila palette on the left and the Supernova palette on the right. I think my favorite from this one is Viola and Red Giant. And I went ahead and matched them up by the rows of the Lila palette. So the Lila palette rows are matched up with the dupes in the Supernova palette since they are different. I also love Magnolia. And this row is probably my favorite from the palettes. I think it's the most universal and it's also the most beautiful. Alright, so let's get back into it. I'm going to use the Lila palette on one side and I'm going to use the Supernova palette on the other side. And I'm going to be using the same brushes on them. I have a little color swatch switcher, this little guy that I can knock off any of the eyeshadow on. Let's go ahead and zoom in and we'll get started. I'm so excited. I am going to just get started. Since we already laid down translucent setting powder, I guess we'll just go ahead and jump right in. I don't think in this video I'm really going to run through all the brushes that I'm using. I'm just going to use them because I hate like showing brushes. It takes so long. So one thing that I do not like about this is a $129 palette and the names are not on there. It came with a little plastic overlay that had the shade names on it that like when you closed it, it would like lay down over it and tell you the names. But I don't like keeping those little plastic overlays on my palette. So I am going to just pull up a picture that tells me all the names. So I just found this little image here, which you're probably not going to be able to see very well, but it tells me all the names of the shadows. So, downside of this palette, there's not very many transition shades, so you don't really have very many options. So I guess what I'm going to go in with is the shade Nude Mauve. Focus! There it goes. And we're going to go ahead and put it in the crease. Ooh, it's very pigmented. It's laying down really quite nice. It's actually not that bad of a transition shade. I was looking at this palette and I was very confused because I was like, what am I going to use in my crease? I only have 4 options. So there's only 2 lighter ones and one is like this gray toned color. Okay, so I have that pretty well blended out. Go in with Zenith. And Zenith is this shade right here. So watch this. These are much softer, but the downside to that is, I don't know if you saw that. Let's do it again. Very powdery. So you just have to make sure that you get off any of the excess powder. I already have my foundation and my concealer done, so I'm really hoping that I don't get fallout, but you know, whatever. If I do, I do. Okay, so right away I'm noticing that this one was obviously more pigmented, but this one is actually, it's blending out better, you guys. See how I have this like line right here, which I'm gonna cheat a little bit and use some of this to blend it out. Okay, so I'm gonna grab more of that shade from the Supernova palette and try to build up to the same depth that we have in the other eye. Even though I really liked how soft it was on this side. So what I'm noticing right away is that this side, the Supernova side, has a lot more of a grayer undertone, if that makes sense. And this side, which is the Lila palette, has more of like a purpley undertone. And up close, I mean, they're not that different. What I am noticing is that in this area right here, the Lila palette does not want to blend out. So we're going to try, I'm going to take a little bit more of Zenith and clean my brush first and just see how much I can even it out. I mean, this is blending out beautifully for a $16 palette. Beautifully. So I am going to take a smaller crease brush that's a little bit more detailed. This one is from Sephora. And I'm going to go in with Nude Vino from the Lila palette, which is this shade right here. It is a warmer, almost terracotta brown. So I'm going to take that and deepen the crease over here. Oh, it is a beautiful color. And I'm already noticing right away that this shade blends out nicer than that mauve shade that we used before. So I'm going to go in with the dupe shade from the Supernova palette, which is called Celestial. It is this shade right here, which is literally almost the exact same shade in the pan. It's the exact same shade. I don't even, okay. And, okay, so you see this? Like, right here? That shouldn't be a thing. And over here, it's not doing that. It is not doing that. I'm not trying to be a hater. I just expect miracles with a $129 palette. And I'm just as pleased, if not more pleased, with a $16 palette. That's not a thing. I'm like, I'm getting mad right now. I'm mad. I don't really understand. I think I just mixed up the shades, but I don't care because it doesn't look any different. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is grab the, I'm gonna take this shade right here, this one, and run that into the crease as well. Oh my goodness. Like, these shadows have incredible pigment. It's just, I'm having a hard time. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm going to take this brush right here and try to. Sometimes that's what you need, is you just need a clean brush. I like that. I like it a lot. So I'm going to take a little bit of Interstellar, which is this shade up here, and I think that was the shade that I was supposed to use first. So we're just gonna like kind of mix Interstellar and Celestial, which is the shade I used before from this palette, and see if we can get close to the other side. There we go. Can't even tell a difference. So I'm gonna grab a flat shader brush. We're going to take this shade Dragon Bite, I think, is what we're going to use first. It is so pretty. I spray it with some setting spray just because this is what I always do. I'm not going to change that. Oh my gosh. I'm actually going to take that same shade because I'm going to kind of do a halo eye. I'm going to take that same shade on the inner part of my eye right here. Okay. So that is that. In this palette here, the Supernova palette, the dupe shade is called Aurora. It looks much more purpley in this palette. But when I was doing the swatches, it surprisingly came out almost identical to the Natasha palette. So let us go ahead and put that onto the same areas. I'm trying to make sure that I didn't grab the wrong shade. Shoot, I did. Darn it. That's okay. We'll start with this one, and I'll just use this on the other side. I'll use the dupe for this on the other side to deepen up out here, because that is very pretty. I'm not mad about it. So let's go. It's called Spirit. I don't know how I even mix this up. My vision must just be like not good today. So I'm going to grab that on this brush, spray, and then now you guys will see that it is basically the same exact shade. So I know it's harder to tell because I put down that other color, but this is where you'll really be able to tell is on the inner corner. Pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that shade that I messed up and took the wrong one, which I accidentally grabbed the dupe for this shade. So we're going to take this shade on our outer edge of our eye and put it right here, just like we did on this side. God, it's a very pretty shade. Still not mad at the difference. I am noticing that this is still pulling pinker over here, whereas these ones are pulling maybe a little bit muddier. It's not bad, but it's definitely different. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my finger to apply these next two shades, which I'm going to grab Magnetic, which is the shade right here. This bright pink is beautiful. And I think I'm actually going to take my brush and wet it with that same shade. Why do I like that so much? And then I'm just going to grab some of Dragon Bite, which is what we put on the inner corner, and try and blend those together. There is fallout, not going to lie, but it seems to just be dusting away quite nicely. I'm going to blend this top here. I really like this so far. So I'm going to take that same shade from the Supernova palette, which is called Nebula. This shade right here. Focus, camera, focus. These are like, this is so much creamier and I don't understand why. So now I've got like a good base down. I'm going to go ahead and grab my brush and do the same thing that I did with the Denona side. These are a lot softer, which I don't know, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I think it just kind of depends on the person. I actually, the color for this, kind of preferring it more. This side's a little bit more purpley. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the other side, which is I'm going to grab shade Spirit from this palette and blend that into Nebula. The last thing that I want to do on my upper lid is I would really like to grab the shade Janot, this shade right here. It's a really nice light shimmery. It's like a really light purple. Like it has a slight purple shift. I'm going to take that on my finger again Hmm. I don't know. This could be bad. And I'm gonna try to just put a little bit. Where's it at? It's not there. Okay, maybe we will try a different shade. Let's try the shade Hello, which is this one right here. That's pretty. Tons of fallout. Tons! Okay, so from the other palette, that is the shade Brilliance and the shade Serious, which I am gonna try taking Serious first. Okay, so why did that not happen with the other one? Let's take Brilliance over. It's pretty, so pretty, and it had more pigment than the other shade did. It's so weird. Alright, now it's time for lower lashes. I'm going to grab this warmer shade up here. I think this is called Vino Noir or something like that. I don't really know. And take that on my lower lash line. I'm just going to grab a little bit. So then we will grab the same shade from the other palette, which is called Interstellar. Okay, and then we are going to take a really small pencil brush. This is the Morphe E36. And we're going to take that bluey purple color, we're going to spray this, and we're going to go under the lash line. So in the Denona palette, this is called Amethyst, which is the shade right here. Looks super scary right now, but this is one of those things where you have to have lashes on. You gotta. And I'm going to grab that brush that we used and kind of blend out that a little bit. And I'm going to grab some of that shade and try to like get it as close to the lash line as I can. And then from the Supernova palette, we are going to take the shade Andromeda, Andromeda, I'm guessing is what it's called. I don't really know. Pick up some of that on my brush. Wet it, and here we go. Let's see. For the inner corner, I'm going to we'll grab this shade right here. Not living for it, but you know, we'll go ahead and use the shade Serious from the Supernova palette. So I am going to go ahead and throw on some liner and some lashes, and then we will come back and see the finished look. Okay, so this is the finished look with lashes and liner on. I really like it, like a lot, and I don't think that once I have lashes and liner on, you can really tell that big of a difference. This is the Lila palette side here, and this is the Supernova palette side. I think overall, honestly, I don't know how to feel, because it's like the Natasha palette is nice, and I will say that what I think I liked about it the most is that the color payoff was more true to what it appeared in the palette, but they were a little bit chalkier and they're definitely harder. I think that's personal preference though, if you like soft shadows versus hard shadows. So like this shadow over here, the Supernova palette, they were much creamier and softer. The matte seemed to blend nicer than the Natasha Denona ones were, which was a little bit different. I will say that the undertones for these shadows were generally more gray, while the undertones for these shadows were generally more of like a pinkier, like purple type color. So yeah, I think overall the price difference is what makes a decision for me, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think that this is a perfectly fantastic palette. If you absolutely have to have the Natasha Denona palette, then buy it. I just think that for the price of $129, it should work miracles. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad about her, because I do truly, genuinely love her shadows. She puts out great shadows. It's just the price point. I did try the holiday palette, and those are like the new formula for those shadows are to die for. Like I I cannot get over them. So I do love Natasha Denona and I love her shadows, but honestly, you guys, if you're looking for an affordable dupe, I think that this palette is going to be a perfectly good dupe or sort of sub for the Lila palette. So I'm going to go ahead and say it that I think that this is the winner. Sorry, Natasha, I love you. I love your shadows. They're beautiful. You do amazing work. I just think that the price point is just, I can't. I love it. I want to justify it, but I can't. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That gives me a big, huge help. Leave a comment down below which one you preferred better. Did you prefer the Lila palette's performance better or the Supernova palette? And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button up top before you leave. Okay, I feel very close to you guys. Why am I so out of focus? Oh my goodness.